Hello and welcome to today's episode of Rusty Duckl Gararage. Hey, today we got a 19 half-ton pickup. It's got the 4.3 liter V6 and a 5-speed manual transmission. I bought this at the Speeds towing auction, and you can see up here it says sticky, weak clutch. Well, I checked out the truck a little bit before the auction, and the clutch seemed fine. I think that the auction folks up there don't drive manual transmissions often enough to really have a good feel for it. However, there is a problem with the 4.3 V6 engine in it, and we'll go over that.
I hauled the truck home on my trailer, and when I got it home, I ran the truck for a while, and after a little while of idling, I could hear a noise coming from the engine in the valve train area. It appeared to be a lifter, but the longer it run, the worse it seemed to get, and the sound that I was getting was kind of a screeching noise at times. It was intermittent, and that noise I'm familiar with. It's a roller lifter. The needles in the roller lifter have come out, and the roller is seizing up on the camshaft, which will take out the camshaft in a quick hurry. So I haven't driven the truck but 1 mile. So I'm bringing it into my shop here and gonna pull the intake off and inspect all the lifters. I'm sure we'll find one that the roller is pitted pretty badly on it and that the needles have fallen out. Now when I open the hood on the truck here, if you listen closely, you'll start to hear that lifter seizing up. It starts with a chirp and then a squeaking and then it goes away. The noise fades away briefly because the roller starts to spin. The needles are gone, but on occasion it will continue to spin and the noise will go away. But when the roller seizes, it will take out the camshaft.
Okay, what you might ask, is this truck worth the time, the money, and the effort to repair it? And the answer to that is no. However, when you purchase something like this, like I did at the auction, you have a commitment. You've got money invested, and you need to get your money back somehow. And so a lot of times you just have to work your way out of these situations. And that's what I'm doing here on this truck, is I'm going to repair it. I don't really want to. That's probably why it's been sitting for so many months out there, waiting in line to get it repaired. But it's something I think I have to do. I need to repair this because I've got $900 invested in it and my time. And I'm going to have some money in parts here. However, not a lot of money, probably $100 to fix this truck. So it's not a huge amount of money. The truck only has 128,000 miles. Yes, it looks terrible, but with only 128,000 miles, once I fix this, it should give somebody some really good service for quite a while. And it's a simple truck, a 4.3 V6 and a 5-speed manual. They don't get any more simpler than that. Doesn't even have air conditioning. So we're going to work our way out of this one. Good. First thing I did is drain the coolant out of the radiator, and the coolant in the truck was very nice. I don't know if you've seen some of the, like a 96 GM products with the Dex coolant. Some of those cooling system was just horrible, but this one looks really good. Okay, I did find a couple of things. You can see here, this ground wire is broken off of this terminal here, and this one is also broken right here. They got two ground wires that are not connected. That's not good. It can cause you all kinds of headaches and problems there. So we'll be repairing those. I didn't have to remove the throttle body necessarily, but I always do just to check the gasket. The gasket on these throttle bodies are known to be blown, which will cause a high idle condition. One other thing I did note is somebody has been in here because there's a pipe plug in here, and that is not a GM pipe plug. So I don't know what they've done or why they were in here, but somebody has been in here before.
Okay, I've removed most of the items that were bolted to the intake manifold, such as the coil and ignition brackets and various things there. This truck not having air conditioning makes it quite easy. But I grabbed the vacuum and cleaned it up around the bolts on the intake and along the edges there where it meets the valve cover to get all the loose dirt and particles that are hanging around there so they don't drop down into the crankcase when I remove that intake. And before I pull the distributor. I look back at the distributor, and the distributor is all nice and shiny and new. Somebody's been in there recently and replaced that distributor. Now the truck did seem to run fine, even though it has those 2 broken ground wires. So I'm a little surprised that it run as good as it has.
Okay, this intake, pretty light, very light, very easy to remove. If you've ever removed an intake off an FE block Ford, you know what I'm talking about. Those things are heavy, but this thing is very light. Aluminum and V6, pretty simple. Let's take a look and see what she looks like in there. Yeah, we dribbled a little bit of water down there. We'll vacuum that out, clean that out of there, but nothing we can't recover. All right, let's take a look here. And you can see it is indeed a roller cam. You got this tray that holds these plates and plates so the lifter can't turn sideways and take out the camshaft. But came off really easy, very lightweight, obviously. Can't see in there very good. Don't have much light up here right now. But we'll pull off the valve covers next here and get down there and pull some lifters out and see what we got going on. All right, here we'll back off the rocker arm. It's what I'm going to call the lifter block tray. Keeps the lifters planted down so they don't spin.
So I didn't have enough room for my impact gun to remove the rocker arm nut on the number 6 exhaust valve. So you can see here, I'm hand wrenching it off. And what I don't realize while I'm doing this, push rod is still in, obviously. I look down and there is no retainer plate around the 2 lifters that are on this cylinder. So neither the exhaust or the intake lifter have the retainer.
Well, the first one I pulled out is the culprit. And you'll see here, completely flat. That's not good. Our camshaft has probably got some serious problems. Most likely does need a camshaft.
The retainer is what keeps the roller lifter from spinning. Now when I say the roller lifter from spinning, the lifter itself from turning sideways in the bore. Both of our lifters had turned sideways in the bore. When they're sideways, the wheel doesn't roll, and that causes the flat spot, ruining the lifter and most likely the camshaft. Now my question is, where did the retainer go and how long has it been gone?
Not good. Not good at all.
Judging by the amount of grease and buildup of dirt, etc., around the intake manifold and how hard the intake manifold gasket was, I had to really scrape hard to get it off there. This intake manifold had not been off there in a very long time, if it had ever been off of there. And I just cannot believe that there's any way that these lifters could have been floating around in there, turning sideways, and lasted this long from day one. But it sure appears that this intake had never been off of there, and that retainer could not get around those push rods to fall out of there and gone into the crankcase. So I have no clue how this happened.
Okay guys, here's what happened on this truck. You see this tin plate here? This is what helps lock the lifters in place so they don't rotate sideways. And you see this plate right here? This plate goes over both of the lifters right here on the top, and that keeps the lifter from rotating. Okay, well guess what? This was not there. There wasn't one. How long it's been gone? I don't know. I have a feeling it's been gone for a very long time. So when I pulled the lifters out of here, at first I didn't notice it. But what happens is, you see that lifter
the roller is completely worn off. Well, this
lifter, when that lifter turns sideways onto the camshaft there, this wheel cannot spin. So that's what grinds it off of there. And both of those lifters were ground down very badly. Surprisingly, the camshaft really didn't look that bad. It had definitely had a little scoring on it, but the lobe was there completely intact, both lobes, and in pretty good shape there. So I put 2 new lifters in it and cleaned it up and whatnot, changed the oil filter and whatnot, reassembled the engine on it, and fired the truck up, and she really runs good. I'm running some test miles on it now. Had it up and down the road several times, down to town and back, and it's running great, not making any weird noises. And I don't really expect it to, because the camshaft, yes, it had some marks on it, but there wasn't anything to stop that roller from continuing to spin once I put the new lifters in it. So the old truck's running good, and I think it's got a lot of life left into it. It's just an old 4.3 V6. It's a cheap truck, so that's the way it is. We're running it, and hard to believe that retainer could have been missing all those years, but I truly believe that it was never in there from day one, because that truck had the original GM intake gaskets still on it, and they were baked on there. The dirt that was built up on it, that engine had not been apart for a very long time, if ever, from the time it was built new. And that retainer could have not have escaped out of there without somebody taking the engine apart. So, my opinion, it was never there. If you told me that happened, I don't think I would believe you, but it is what it is. So, hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll catch you next time at Rusty Duckl Garage.